Taking a bit of a break from Chilling Reign, we're back into the Theme Deck Tuesday segment where I review and have some battles with a theme deck. This is a little bit of an older one, right before the theme deck started getting good, so definitely some frustration in these matches. So be sure to give the video some love as a result, like it, and if you're not already, be sure to subscribe as I do post videos multiple times a week. Taking a look at the contents of the deck, we do have a lot of Pokemon and trainer cards here, some of which are good, some not so good. The main focus of the deck is the Sceptile. Of course, we always start off with the star Pokemon. Now it does have the powerful Storm attack, which does 20 damage for each energy that you have in play. This can be nice, but it does take a while to actually get enough energy in play to actually make this valuable. But the fact that you are attacking for just one grass energy is quite nice. And of course you do also get the added bonus of preventing all damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Ultra Beasts. The only downside is that there's very few Ultra Beasts in the theme deck format, so this is more for a meta thing when this card was actually released, and you're mainly just focused on Powerful Storm. Now to combo with this, you're going to need some energy acceleration. This deck has some, but for the most part it's not too great. We have the Manectric here, which does have electric start, which allows you to start with it if you go second and it's in your opening hand, which is quite nice. And you do have double charge, which deals 40 damage, which is good on its own, but you also get to attach up to 2 basic energy from your hand to your Pokemon in any way that you like, of course. So this is very good for that energy acceleration, as I said. And we also have the Abomasnow here, which accelerates an energy, well, a grass energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. So again, getting that energy into play. And then also, if a Pokemon gets knocked out, we have the Lantern, which has an ability which is essentially XP share, which keeps your energy in play after a Pokemon has been knocked out. And we actually do have physical XP share here as well as a tool card, which again keeps that energy in play. So very good at getting some energy into play with Abomasnow and Manectric and then keeping it into play, but it's just that fact that it's going to be very difficult for you to actually find Manectric to make use of that attack in order to accelerate the energy, at which point your opponent's going to be steamrolling you. So the other Pokemon that we have here though is a couple of supporting Pokemon. Dunsparce gets you your board set up, as you can search out for your basics, put them into play. We also have the Furfrou again in this deck, you've seen it recently in one of the other theme decks, but allows you to draw cards, which is always welcome. And then of course a Oranguru with Instruct, again drawing your cards, but it does rely on you having a very small hand, which you typically don't have in theme deck format. And then as for the trainer cards, we do have some very good ones in this deck actually. We have Nest Ball and Timer Ball, as well as an Ultra Ball, which is very good, which allows us to search out all of our Pokemon with these search cards. We also have the Rescue Stretcher as well as the Switch. And then the support cards are very good as well actually. We have the Lily and the House as usual, we have Lady and some copycats to get us some good draw. But the main takeaway from this is it is one of the only theme decks with Guzma, the only other one being the NT deck, which I did deck profile quite a bit ago. But yeah, one of the few decks with Guzma. Could potentially be good, but considering our attacks just aren't up to scratch, you're not typically going to be making use of that. And the attacks are really what's going to be holding this deck back. So let's get into a couple of matches and really show you why that is going to be such a problem, and we'll discuss it in the matches a bit further. Looks like we're going to have a bit of a pseudo mirror match here. Now it is both grass decks, so not quite a total mirror match, but we do have a pretty similar strategy overall, where we can both accelerate energy and we are both going to be working towards a stage 2 Pokemon that can hit for a lot of damage. So it's going to be interesting to see who can get set up first in this situation, but we do have a pretty nice starting hand, as we have the Manectric here, which has the double charge of course, allowing us to accelerate our energy as I mentioned in the deck profile. And we'll have to see, my opponent doesn't really have anything going on here, just an attack for 10 damage. We do get our Abomasnow a little bit too early, but that's fine. I think we can actually just, yeah, they have a very pitiful amount of HP, so we can actually just donk my opponent here with the Professor Kukui and deal a total of 60 damage to instantly win the game on the second turn of the match. We can even BM them a little bit, why not? Attach her to grass energies, and there we go, as simple as that. You can just get super lucky sometimes, I guess, and your opponent doesn't have any bench Pokemon. Let's get into another game. We're up against Relentless Flame this time around, and somehow I don't think it's going to go quite as well as the last game. Now they are starting off with the Farfetch, which is their preferred starter as well, and even get down the early Charmander going into a Cynthia. So my opponent pretty much has everything that they could possibly hope for, and they even get the Ponyta as well. Now we're going to be hoping that we can get some Pokemon here, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. We can attach energy, I guess. We could go for a Copycat or even potentially a Guzma, but I don't want to give them the opportunity to have their fire Pokemon in the active. We'll just go with the Copycat for now, see if we get some more basic Pokemon that we can put into play. We do get that, so we'll definitely put those down. We could also Ultra Ball and use Instruct, which I don't hate, but also don't love that. So we'll hold on to it for now, I guess. I'll definitely put Oranguru down anyways, and we'll just hit my opponent for a small 20 damage poke. Not going to be all that relevant, but at least we have Ultra Ball and Kukui to get that additional damage and start searching out some of our other Pokemon here. We also have an energy attachment, which is not going to be super helpful for Sceptile, since it does require a grass energy to attack, which isn't ideal. Let's see, what we top deck is a decent Pokemon, since we can start attaching our lightning energy there. We'll go for Professor Kukui. Don't really want any of these cards, so I'm just going to bin them. Sure, the Lily could be very useful, but I want to get towards our Sceptile here. So we're going to go and get an evolution with our Ultra Ball, and we can use Instruct on our Oranguru here to draw 2 cards. Hoping for some good ones. We do get another supporter at the very least, so I'll definitely take that. And we can hit my opponent for 40 damage, so we can set up for a knockout on this following turn and also get Sceptile into play. All we're really missing now is a Manectric, so that we can start accelerating some energy. That would be very nice. Or even just another attacker in general would be good, as my opponent does have the Rapidash now, which hopefully doesn't get heads. Of course they do get heads, because they always get heads against me. And all we can do, like I said, is cross our fingers that we get a Manectric off the top of our deck. Or off the supporter, I suppose. Let's go for it. My opponent has a reasonable hand size, so we should see a lot of cards here. And of course, none of them are the Manectric that we need. We can put some of these Pokemon down though, since they are going to come in pretty useful. And I guess we get the energy attachment down. We'll just hit into our opponent for a little, well, nothing I guess, because of course they're invincible, but even if we had hit them, then it's only 10 damage. It's not going to be relevant whatsoever. And we'll just have to try and build up some more energy on our board, I think. The Sceptile is not going to be a very reliable attacker here, since they are hitting us for a weakness. We do get a Tails. I think we'll promote our Lantern here and see what we get into. We get a How. We could attach and do 30 damage. It's not going to be all that relevant either. We'll just attach onto, I mean we could actually attach onto Oranguru. He has a reasonable attack. So let's start attaching there. We'll go for How first of all and see what we draw into. Nothing too useful. I think it's just going to be another pass to my opponent, really showing the weakness of this deck, as it can be somewhat consistent with the amount of supporters that we have here. We did get use out of Oranguru, but considering the top theme decks are fire based, it's going to be very difficult to be competitive against those decks when you are getting hit for weakness, and you are just generally quite slow compared to these decks which have some energy acceleration, the Vivid Voltage Charizard deck does have bead in it, so it can accelerate that way, and it's just overall more consistent. But certainly Relentless Flame, being able to use the Rapidash here, or even the Charizard to get a bunch of energy on, that's going to be very good for my opponent. We can, I guess, promote another Pokemon that we can sacrifice. My opponent has already taken half of their prize cards, so it's not looking too good for us. We do have a Dunsparce that we could sacrifice at some point as well. Let's attach onto our Oranguru once again, and we'll just use our Lady to get ourselves a couple of energy out of the deck, get those into the hand so that the deck is thinned out a little. Let's see the discard. Yeah, don't really want any of these back with Rescue Stretcher. We'll just pass over to my opponent once again. We can use Psychic at some point on our Oranguru to deal a considerable amount of damage, but we also have our Sceptile that we can make use of now. My opponent gets a double heads on Timer Ball. That's going to allow them to have the Charizard and Nidoqueen, which is certainly going to set up the rest of their board. I mean, they are already pretty much set up, but even more so with those two Pokemon. They're also opting to attach to the Nidoqueen, which is reasonable since the Charizard can set itself up. They're also flipping a lot of tails with the Rapidash, which I can't complain with whatsoever. Let's promote our Sceptile. We can at least try to take a prize card this game, I suppose. We'll attach another Lightning onto Oranguru. We've got a Timer Ball of our own. Let's see if we can get a heads. We do get one, so we'll grab ourselves the Lantern here. Put that into play. Acts as an XP sure, but it's not going to be super relevant, I don't think. And we can get the Professor Kukui down, and we'll just attack my opponent. Do get the knockout. We're dealing a total of 100 damage, which is definitely not much, and that was with Professor Kukui as well. So if we hadn't played that Professor Kukui, we wouldn't have got the knockout there with our Sceptile. It just shows really how weak Sceptile is. Only dealing 20 damage for each energy you have in play is really slow when you aren't accelerating any energy at all. And yeah, we can keep energy in play with Lantern, and we have the Abomasnow to accelerate a single energy, but overall the lack of energy acceleration just doesn't make Sceptile worthwhile really. Now we have to see what my opponent comes up with, if they're just going to be working towards a couple of Charizard here, or if they do start attacking with the Nidoqueen. Looks like they're just going to be attaching to the bench though, and passing it over to us. Not going to be putting us in any better situation whatsoever, but it does give us a couple of turns to take a couple of extra prizes, because why not? Let's go ahead and attach to our Manectric, and we do have the switch. Now of course we do have the Manectric for energy acceleration. I was saying that we don't have any at all, but we do have some energy acceleration. It's just not really the best compared to other decks. I think we'll attach a couple of lightning energy onto Lantern. That seems fine. And yeah, I mean the Dunsparce only takes one energy, so we'll put two lightnings onto Lantern and make use of those. Let's see if my opponent comes up with a Nidoqueen now. No, they're just sending up the Ponyta, so I'm guessing they're going to go for the Rapidash play. Hit us for 60 and then try and be immune again. But we could just accelerate more energy at that point. We could take a knockout with a Lantern. We have a couple of options here. Did get the Ponyta, or not Ponyta, the Evolution, Rapidash. They got that off of the Nidoqueen, and they are going to be hitting us for 60. They do get a heads as well, so that's going to make them immune once again. Very unfortunate. That we're just going to be continuing to attach energy with our Manectric here. I guess we'll attach a second energy onto the Sceptile. There's not really any other place that I want to attach it to. Let's Nest Ball. We can get ourselves the... oh, I guess we're not going to get Snowbird. We'll just get a Treecko. And we can use our Manectric as well. Yeah, we don't want to use Tate and Lisa because then we're going to lose energy. We can just accelerate this onto our Treecko. And then it's going to be my opponent's turn. Let's see if they're immune again, or if we're able to take one more prize card. Try and do a big swing with our Sceptile to close out this game, hopefully. My opponent going for the Nidoqueen getting the second Nidoqueen set up. Not that they really need it, and they also have the Charizard in their hand that they took a few turns ago, so they should be evolving into that. There it is, and they can use a whole plethora of attackers here. Please give us a Tails, thank you, so we can get a big swing in with our Sceptile and have a big hurrah before my opponent knocks us out. We also have a final energy here that we can attach, and nothing else to really bother playing out. So here we go, let's see how much damage we're doing. A total of 220 damage. Of course my opponent can just do double that with their Charizard since they can't hit for weakness, but hey, at least they allowed us to take 3 prize cards, and that's very generous of them. Typically they would just dominate us even more, but there you go. My opponent is bringing up the Charizard. They have the Roaring Resolve plus energy attachment, that's going to be 5 energy, to do a whopping 560 damage with weakness. Most definitely a knockout and a easy victory for my opponent. Let's get into one more game, see if we can get any kind of better success with Sceptile, but I really doubt it with this deck. Oh man, we have a rematch against the Rillaboom deck here, but we definitely did not have a good a start as the first time around. My opponent has it much better off here. They have the Gossifleur here, which has the good attack on it, allowing them to search out Pokemon onto their bench, and meanwhile we really have nothing going on apart from this Snover that we're going to have to try and work with here. Sure, we can build up towards a Abomasnow if we're able to draw into it, but looks like my opponent has pretty much the ideal start. We can attach an energy. We do have the Professor Kukui we can make use of, so it will at least draw us a couple of cards as well. Of course they're going to be 2 energy cards, so totally useless for us, and we can hit into my opponent for 40, hopefully getting the knockout on this following turn. But if they have the Eldegoss, they are going to be able to use that to accelerate energy onto their board, and yep, there it is. They even got the potion as well, so it's going to be even more difficult for us to get knockouts here, and we really don't have any way of searching out our Abomasnow. My opponent's setting up the Snorlax so they can get some easy knockouts with that. We top deck another Pokemon at the very least, so we're not completely dead here. And we also have a Lady that we can use to search out some energy. I think I will actually switch into the other Snover so that we can sacrifice it, and that's going to give us a turn at the very least, so my opponent can knock out that. So if we have something that gives us the Abomasnow, maybe we top deck a trainer card like a timer ball, that would give us it, or an ultra ball. What else do we have? A bunch of supporter cards that would draw cards, hopefully getting it that way. But let's see what our top deck is, and yeah, that is definitely not it. That's an XP share, so I guess we'll attach another energy so that we have another turn of potentially getting it. But I really doubt that anything is going to save us at this point, and it's a real flip from the first time that we played against the Rillaboom deck earlier on. My opponent even has the Professor's Research, so they can draw through their deck even more, work towards those Rillabooms. They're definitely, yep, there we go, they have a lot of evolutions available, and there's the Rillaboom as well. And they're just going to be accelerating even more energy, which totally makes sense, as they're not in a rush to get anything done. They can just power up all of their Pokemon and get every single energy in their deck into play. There we top deck a Copycat, which is not good when our hand is actually bigger than my opponent's hand. I guess we could do it anyways. Sure, we'll attach onto the active. We have a XP share, I guess I'll put down. And here we go, we'll Copycat, let's see if we get Abomasnow. And no Abomasnow, no nothing. We do have some supporters for the following turn, but I highly doubt my opponent is going to let us just sit here for much longer. You gotta imagine they're going to retreat at some point and start swinging with either a Rillaboom or Snorlax. They even get the second Rillaboom out, so they've not prized any. And yeah, let's see, they're going to be attaching energy. Are they going to retreat? Yes, they are. There's the Rillaboom coming in and hitting us for 90 damage, as well as spreading. We get to keep this energy because of XP share. which I guess I'll do. It's not going to be relevant whatsoever. Even if we get our Abomasnow, it's not going to be relevant. So we'll use Tainted Lisa and shuffle our hand into our deck. There we go. We finally get Abomasnow about 3 turns too late. We don't get the Accelerate Energy with the ability, and we can only hit for a pitiful 80 damage. And of course my opponent wakes up anyways, so all they need is an energy. There it is, they can hit us for the knockout, and they're going to be winning the rematch, unfortunately. So this is going to be another old theme deck which has not performed particularly well. It certainly hasn't stood the test of time, and I would not recommend playing this one, sadly. Hopefully you enjoyed the video anyway, and I'll see you in the next one.